Our top focus at this hour. Months on, there are no signs of de-escalation at the Russia-Ukrainian border, where an estimated 100,000 Russian troops have been deployed. But for what? This is not yet clear. Russia maintains that it has no plans of an invasion. The West believes otherwise, and both sides are preparing for the worst. Now, in the latest, US President Joe Biden has said that he would consider imposing sanctions on President Putin himself if Russia invaded Ukraine. Listen in.
Would you ever see yourself personally sanctioning him if he did invade Ukraine?
Yes.
You would?
I would see that.
Threats of sanctions are not uncommon, but a sanction on a head of state is rare and reserved for extreme situations. Now, this comes as NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, led by the US, placed forces on standby and reinforced Eastern Europe with more ships and fighter jets. The US, too, has put about 8,500 troops on high alert, ready to be deployed at a moment's notice. Now, countries like the US and UK are also supplying military equipment to Ukraine. Washington has committed over $650 million worth of security assistance to Ukraine in the past year. Now, across the Atlantic, Western leaders too are appealing for unity, though differences in opinions remain over how to respond. For example, Germany has refused to provide weapons to Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron said that he would be directly speaking to President Putin on Friday and seek clarification over his intentions towards Ukraine. Now, this comes ahead of a meeting of political advisors from Russia, Ukraine, France and Germany in Paris.
Et je pense que c'est important de là aussi garder ces canaux de discussion. C'est ce qui d'ailleurs avait conduit la chancelière Merkel et moi-même il y a quelques mois à pousser les Européens là aussi à rouvrir une discussion structurée avec la Russie. C'est dans ce contexte et avec la même volonté, exigeante mais lucide, que j'aurai un échange vendredi matin avec le président Poutine. Ce n'est pas un déplacement, c'est un échange téléphonique.
Now, the Paris dialogue aims at pushing Moscow to fully implement the 2015 Minsk peace accords by withdrawing support to rebel groups fighting the Ukrainian government in the Donbas region. Now, for Europe, the crisis is twofold. The bloc depends on Russia for around a third of its gas supplies, and any interruptions to Russia's gas supply to Europe would worsen an already existing energy crisis. Now, senior Biden administration officials said that it was in talks with major energy-producing countries and companies around the world over a potential diversion of supplies to Europe if Russia invades Ukraine. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, President Zelensky urged citizens to stay calm and not panic, and that he and Ukraine's allies were acting as one team.
Посольства країн ЄС та багатьох інших залишають усіх своїх працівників в Україні. А те, що деякі країни вивозять частину своїх дипломатів, ще зовсім не означає неминучу ескалацію і є тонкощами складної дипломатичної гри. Разом з партнерами ми працюємо спільно, діємо єдиною командою.
Across the border, however, Russia State TV had a different message for its citizens. In evening news, they stressed that it was Western panic fueling tensions. But experts say it is important for Moscow that it looks like that it's the West inflaming tensions.
Это и продолжало выглядеть как Запад, он нагнетает. Да, и в каком-то смысле информационно действительно на Западе этого больше. И получается, что мы-то, что называется, не хотим войны, а это Запад. Никто ни на кого не напал, а нас уже во всем.
Despite what Moscow wants to portray, most countries are worried of an impending attack. Canada said it was temporarily withdrawing families of its diplomats in Ukraine, and Sweden said it was advising against all non-essential travel to the region. Experts are of the opinion that an attack now would be the biggest one since World War II. And WION correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Listen in.
As Russia's Ukrainian gambit continues to dominate the headlines around the world, there is now news coming out from Washington that the White House plans on imposing far greater sanctions against Russia if it decides to invade Ukraine compared to the time back in 2014 when Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula. According to a national security official who spoke on condition of anonymity to reporters on Tuesday, that means the gradualism of the past is out, and this time will start at the top of the escalation ladder and stay there. This was a direct quote. The official also said that the United States is prepared to impose novel export controls to hobble the Russian economy. Basically, the idea is that since Russian President Vladimir Putin is very ambitious strategically to industrialize his country's economy, these sanctions would impair areas of importance to him, including artificial intelligence, quantum computing, defense, or aerospace, and other key sectors. However, these comments and these latest developments come at a time when there is still news that perhaps the United States and Europe are not in agreement on how severe sanctions against Russia should be, should Russia decide to invade Ukraine. Susan Techmani reporting from New York for WION World is One.